You won't believe what the average American is actually wasting money on. And no, it's not coffee. Coffee doesn't even crack the top 5. The truth is, people are draining their bank accounts on things that bring little to no lasting value. And most don't even realize it until it's too late. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 dumbest overspending habits that could be quietly sabotaging your budget. If you recognize yourself in any of these, it might be time to step back and rethink where your hard-earned dollars are really going. Let's see how many you're guilty of. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and hit subscribe so you never miss smart tips on money and life. Number 5. Extended warranties. We've already broken down how they work and why. Most of the time, they're nothing more than a clever sales tactic. Companies make huge profits off people's fears. They know that when you're spending $1,000 on a new TV, you're nervous about something going wrong. And when they dangle that extended warranty in front of you, it feels like security. But the reality is, it rarely pays off. Less than 5% of products fail during that warranty window. And when they do, normal wear and tear usually excludes the exact issue you're experiencing. So you've handed over a couple $100 for a piece of paper that doesn't do you much good. Here's the better strategy. Build your own emergency fund for repairs. Put that $200 into a high-yield savings account. If your TV or appliance breaks, you've got the money set aside to deal with it. And if it doesn't, you just saved yourself a nice chunk of change. Over a lifetime, skipping these unnecessary warranties can add up to thousands of dollars back in your pocket. Now, let's roll right into number 4. Bottled water. At first glance, this one doesn't seem nearly as big a deal as dropping a couple $100 on a warranty. But the truth is, bottled water is one of the sneakiest money drains out there. It's a classic example of how small, repeated purchases pile up into something massive. Think about it. Americans spend over $16 billion every single year on bottled water. Break that down, and it's about $100 per person per year. That might not sound too painful at first, but multiply it across a family of 4 over a decade. And suddenly, you're talking about $4,000 just for water, something you already have flowing out of your kitchen sink for almost nothing. And here's the kicker. Up to 2/3 of bottled water sold in the US is actually repackaged tap water. The very thing we're already paying for in our utility bills gets filtered, put into plastic, labelled with a mountain scene, and sold back to us at a premium. It's genius marketing, but it's terrible for our wallets. Now, why do people fall for it? Convenience plays a huge role. When you're out running errands, grabbing a cold bottle from the cooler feels easier than remembering to bring your own reusable bottle. Then there's the perception that bottled water is safer or cleaner. But in reality, the EPA holds municipal tap water to stricter safety standards than the FDA holds bottled water. That means your home tap is often just as good, sometimes better, than the water you're paying for in plastic. Let's look at the math a little closer. Say you buy a 24-pack of bottled water every 2 weeks at $6 a pack. That's $156 a year. Over 10 years, you've spent more than $1,500 on water. Compare that to buying a $40 water filter pitcher or even a $100 under-sink filtration system. Once you've made that one-time investment, you're getting clean, safe water for pennies per gallon. And if you stick with reusable bottles, you'll always have it on the go. But this isn't just about the money. There's also the environmental cost. Billions of plastic bottles end up in landfills or the ocean every year. Cutting bottled water out of your routine is one of the simplest ways to shrink your footprint. So not only are you saving money, you're also helping the planet. That's what I call a win-win. Here's another perspective. Bottled water is more than just a budget leak. It's a mindset leak. When we get comfortable spending money on something we already have at home, it sets the stage for overspending in other areas. It's the death by 1,000 cuts effect. A few bucks here, a few bucks there, and before you know it, you're scratching your head wondering where your paycheck disappeared to. So here's the challenge. Track how much you spend on bottled water in a month. Write it down, then compare it to what it would cost to use a filter at home. Once you see the difference in black and white, it's hard to keep handing money to the bottled water industry. At the end of the day, both extended warranties and bottled water teach us the same lesson. Companies make billions exploiting our fears and our convenience. Fear of something breaking. Fear of unsafe water. The promise of comfort, safety, or ease can be powerful, but once you see the truth, you realize you have smarter options. And the best part? Those smarter options almost always leave more money in your pocket. If these words touched your heart and sparked inspiration within you, leave a 3 in the comments to let it shine. If they did not, leave a 0 in quiet honesty. Every thought you share is a gift. Thank you for giving us a moment of your precious time. Number 3 on the list is gambling. And I'm not just talking about high rollers in Las Vegas. This includes casinos, sports betting, online platforms, and even something most of us don't think twice about: buying lottery tickets. Believe it or not, last year, Americans spent over $100 billion on lottery tickets alone. Let that number sink in for a second. That's more than what many countries spend on their entire education budgets. It's astonishing, and it's happening right here. Now here's the tough truth. The odds are stacked against you. Winning the big jackpot is about 1 in 292 million. To put that in perspective, you're more likely to get struck by lightning not once, but twice in your lifetime. Yet people keep lining up at gas stations and convenience stores with the dream of waking up rich tomorrow. It's the fantasy of instant wealth that draws people in. But that fantasy rarely, if ever, becomes reality. Casinos and sports betting play the same psychological game. They dazzle you with bright lights, free drinks, and the occasional small win that keeps you hooked. But remember the golden rule. The house always wins. Every slot machine, every roulette wheel, every sports betting app is mathematically designed to tilt the odds in their favor. The longer you play, the higher the chance that your wallet gets lighter. And let's talk about online gambling for a moment. These days, you'll see influencers streaming themselves betting hundreds of dollars on flashy websites. They'll celebrate huge wins on camera, and it looks tempting, right? But what you don't see is the fine print. Many of those wins are either sponsored, staged, or carefully selected highlights. For every person you see hitting the jackpot, there are thousands quietly draining their savings in the background. The psychological pull is powerful. Gambling triggers the brain's reward system in the same way addictive substances do. It's that thrill of maybe the next spin will be it that keeps people coming back. But here's the reality. Every dollar spent gambling is a dollar that could have been invested in something real, something that actually improves your future. Whether it's building an emergency fund, taking a class, or saving for travel, those choices give you lasting rewards instead of fleeting thrills. Which brings us to number 2 on the list: unused subscription services. Now, I'll admit it, this one gets me too, because subscriptions are the silent budget killers of our time. On average, Americans spend more than $200 a month on subscriptions. That's $2,400 a year, enough to fund a pretty nice vacation or pad your retirement savings. What's surprising is that it's not just the obvious ones, like Netflix, Hulu, or Spotify. It's the cloud storage you forgot you signed up for. The meditation app you downloaded during the pandemic. The meal kit that sounded like a good idea, but you stopped using after 2 deliveries. Even that free trial that quietly flipped into a $15 monthly charge. Companies design these services to be out of sight and out of mind. Their entire business model depends on you forgetting to cancel. Automatic renewals make it worse. You sign up for a free month, and before you know it, you're paying for the annual plan because you missed the cancellation window. And how many times have you told yourself, "I'll cancel it later," only to see another charge pop up on your statement? It's not just you. This is exactly how they plan it. So what's the solution? Start with a subscription audit. Pull up your last 3 to 6 months of bank and credit card statements. Go line by line and highlight every recurring charge. You might be shocked at how many services are quietly draining your account. Once you've identified them, make decisions. Do you really need 5 different streaming platforms? Are you still using that workout app you subscribed to in January? Here's a pro tip. Many companies now offer the option to pause your subscription instead of cancelling it entirely. This gives you flexibility. You stop paying when you're not using it, but can jump back in later without losing your account history. It's an easy way to save money without cutting off the service forever. And if you're serious about trimming the fat, there are apps designed to help you track and manage subscriptions automatically. Some even negotiate with providers on your behalf to lower your bills. But honestly, just taking the time to review your statements once or twice a year can save you hundreds. So let's connect the dots here. Gambling and unused subscriptions might seem like completely different problems, but they share a common thread. Both rely on human psychology to separate you from your money. Gambling plays on the thrill of chance. Subscriptions play on forgetfulness and convenience. Either way, the result is the same. You're spending money you don't have to. And the number one item on the list is luxury or designer brands. Because somewhere along the way, society convinced us that a name stitched onto fabric or a shiny emblem on a car hood equals worth. A brand name is worth more, right? That's the story we're sold. And millions of us buy into it every single year. Think about it. Designer clothes, handbags, shoes, accessories, food, even cars. These can cost 2, 3, or 10 times more than similar quality items that don't carry the fancy label. But here's the twist. Most people can't even tell the difference. If you remove the logo, set them side by side, many luxury items don't actually outperform their average-priced counterparts. So why do people keep shelling out the cash? Because luxury doesn't sell products. Luxury sells the illusion. Brands know this. They're masters at playing with human psychology. They create limited editions, exclusive drops, and one-of-a-kind collections. Not because the item is truly rare, but because scarcity sells. The fear of missing out makes people pay more. But peel back the curtain, and you'll find that many of these products are mass-produced in the same factories, often with the same materials as mid-range items. The only real difference? The badge. That little logo you're paying hundreds or thousands extra for. And here's the kicker. People don't just buy luxury for themselves. They buy it to be seen. Luxury brands don't sell handbags and shoes. They sell status. They sell the dream of being part of an exclusive club where only a select few belong. It's not about leather, thread, or design. It's about fantasy. That fantasy is powerful. But it's also expensive. You may have heard the phrase, all flash, no cash, or the old saying, big hat, no cattle. That's exactly what happens when people sink their money into luxury to look wealthy, instead of actually building wealth. The truth is, the moment you recognize where your money is really going, you take back control. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean you have to live like a monk or deny yourself nice things. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself. But the key is balance and intention. Are you buying because it truly brings you joy? Or are you buying because the label tells you it should? That's the question you need to ask. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine two people with the same income. One spends thousands a year upgrading handbags, chasing designer shoes, and financing luxury cars. The other skips the labels, chooses reliable but reasonably priced products, and invests the extra money into real estate, index funds, or even building a small side business. 10 years down the road, who's in a better position? One has a closet full of fading trends. The other has a portfolio, security, and freedom. Your money is a tool. That's the part most people forget. It's not about keeping up appearances. It's about using money to build the life you actually want. Think of it this way. A fancy watch won't pay your medical bills in retirement. A designer car won't keep the lights on when you're 85. But investments in things like real estate, stocks, or even skills, those keep paying dividends long after the thrill of a shopping spree is gone. Now, let's be practical. If you've already been hooked by the luxury cycle, don't panic. You don't have to give up everything overnight. Start small. Choose one purchase you usually splurge on and swap it for a smarter alternative. Skip the $500 shoes and buy the $120 pair that will last just as long. Instead of spending $200 on a wallet with a logo, buy one for $50 and invest the other $150 in an index fund. Over time, these small decisions stack up. And here's another pro tip. Don't underestimate the power of experiences. Research shows that spending money on experiences like travel, hobbies, or time with loved ones brings far more lasting happiness than buying luxury goods. A dinner with your kids, a weekend trip with friends, or a class that teaches you something new. That's value you'll remember. A handbag, that fades. So, the next time you're tempted by that glossy ad promising status, pause. Ask yourself, am I buying into value, or am I buying into fantasy? That single question could save you thousands and redirect your money toward a future you'll actually be proud of. At the end of the day, you don't have to sacrifice your lifestyle to save. You just have to become a smarter spender. Luxury brands will keep selling the dream, but you don't have to buy into it. Build your dream instead. Build security, build freedom, and build a life that actually matters. Because the real luxury, it's not the label you wear, it's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've used your money wisely and that you're truly in control of your future. But let's take this even further, because it's not just about saving money. It's about what you gain when you stop chasing those brand labels and start choosing for yourself. And the first thing you gain is freedom. When you're not tied down by debt from buying the latest must-have item, you suddenly have choices. You can choose to travel, to invest, to spend more time with your family, instead of grinding endlessly to pay off credit card bills. Every dollar you don't waste on overpriced logos is a dollar you can put toward the life you actually want. Think about it. A closet full of labels doesn't give you freedom, but a savings account that lets you take your grandkids on a trip to the beach, that's real freedom. And once you experience that shift, it changes how you look at every purchase. Now, this choice doesn't just affect you, it sends a message to the next generation. Kids and grandkids are always watching, even if they don't say it out loud. When they see you spending wisely, choosing value over hype, they learn an important lesson. That real worth isn't in a logo, it's in the life you build. They see that you don't need to flash a designer bag to have dignity, and that you don't need the latest drop to feel proud of yourself. This is how financial wisdom becomes a legacy. Not a lecture, not a lecture at the dinner table, but an example. They'll remember how you lived, not just what you said. And one day, when they're tempted to blow money on something meaningless, they'll think of the example you set. That's the kind of influence that lasts far longer than any handbag or luxury watch. And there's another layer here: sustainability. Every time we buy into the illusion of luxury scarcity, we're also feeding into waste. Fast-changing collections, overproduction, and mass marketing disguised as exclusivity all create mountains of waste. Waste that sits in landfills long after the trend has passed. But when you step back and say, "I don't need this to feel valuable," you're not only protecting your wallet, you're protecting the planet. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Maybe you choose a timeless, well-made coat that will last you 10 winters instead of 5 trendy jackets that fall apart in one. Maybe you invest in a stainless steel water bottle instead of buying endless cases of bottled water. Each choice is small, but together they add up to something powerful. They tell the world that you value durability over disposability, substance over image. And in doing so, you're not just living smarter, you're living greener. Now, let's connect all 3 of these threads: freedom, legacy, and sustainability. Because in the end, they're all linked. The freedom you create by not being chained to brands allows you to live life on your own terms. The example you set becomes a legacy for the people who look up to you. And the intentional choices you make for yourself contribute to a healthier planet for them to inherit. That's the full picture. So the next time you're tempted by the latest logo, ask yourself, is this really for me? Or is it for someone else's approval? Is this adding to my freedom or taking it away? Will my kids and grandkids look back and admire this choice? Or will they shake their heads? And does this purchase help the world we all share, or hurt it? Those questions are worth asking. And here's the real truth. The most luxurious thing you can ever own is not a label, not a car, not even a house. It's peace of mind. It's waking up without financial stress. It's knowing you lived with purpose, and it's leaving behind a world, both financially and environmentally, that's better because you were in it. So be intentional, be bold, be free. Because true wealth isn't measured in brand names, it's measured in choices. At the end of the day, this entire conversation isn't really about extended warranties, bottled water, gambling, or luxury brands. It's about something much deeper. It's about reclaiming your freedom, shaping the kind of legacy you want to leave behind, and making choices that reflect what truly matters, not just to you, but to the people who come after you. Because every dollar you spend tells a story. It's either a story of chasing someone else's approval or a story of living life on your terms. When you choose value over vanity, you're not just protecting your wallet, you're investing in your future. You're proving to yourself and to your loved ones that dignity, wisdom, and freedom mean far more than any shiny logo ever could. And when you live that way, you're leaving behind more than possessions. You're leaving behind a lesson. Your children and grandchildren will remember the way you handled money, the way you prioritized people over possessions, and the way you built a life based on values instead of trends. That legacy is priceless. On top of that, your choices ripple out into the world. When you reject unnecessary waste and endless consumption, you contribute to a cleaner, healthier planet. That's not just good for you, it's good for everyone. So here's my challenge. Start asking tougher questions about what you're buying and why. Spend with intention. Choose freedom, choose legacy, choose sustainability. Because real wealth isn't about what you own, it's about what you create, what you share, and what you leave behind. And if this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more conversations that dig deeper than the surface. Together, let's build a smarter, freer future.